drugs for Combs, set up hotel rooms with supplies, endured constant threats, and we found out what federal authorities found in Diddy's mansion. We've got all the explosive details from inside the courtroom. We're going to be talking to Law and Crimes reporter Elizabeth Milner to break it all down. Welcome to Sidebar, presented by Law and Crime. Jesse Weber. Hey everybody, this is another Law and Crime legal alert. If you received Depo-Provera birth control shots and were later diagnosed with a brain or spinal tumor called revealing some
get some people in the chat.
stunning details about alleged drug pickups, secret hotel room setups, more alleged threats to employees. Meanwhile, prosecutors, they teased a major witness for tomorrow, none other than rapper Kid Cudi. He's had quite the past with Combs' ex-girlfriend Cassandra Ventura, allegations of arson, right? Talking about a blown-up car. But first, Cap. So the last witness to take the stand today, his testimony painted a picture of Combs as this demanding boss who allegedly used his assistant to procure drugs, set up hotel rooms with supplies, even repeatedly threatened his job. We're going to get into all that. We're going to get into a lot more. But for this, I'm not going to do it alone. I'm going to bring on right now Law and Crimes reporter Elizabeth Milner, who's been inside that courtroom in the Southern District of New York for every second of the testimony, including for today. Elizabeth, great to see you. So I want to start off with what's perhaps the most shocking claim. You have Diddy's former assistant, that is George Kaplan, former executive assistant. He testified that he actually picked up drugs for Diddy. Can you tell us what exactly he said about that? Because again, this is important for the racketeering charge. If we're talking about Combs operating a criminal enterprise and he was using his assistants and his bodyguards to further criminal activity or provide supplies for criminal activity and cover it up, these are the people you want to hear about. So what exactly did he say about picking up drugs for Diddy?
Well, absolutely, Jesse. And you know what? I'm just going to kind of tell you and take it a little bit back just 2 hours earlier, just because outside of the presence of the jury, so right while Dr. Hughes was testifying, they were dismissed for lunch. Then we had this moment again outside of the presence of the jury where we were first introduced to George Kaplan, us in the gallery, us in the press. Obviously, the prosecution and both the defense were, we see George Kaplan taking the stand and we're like, okay, what's about to happen? Well, let me just tell you, Jesse, he invoked his Fifth Amendment right of self-incrimination outside of the presence of the jury, and in exchange for that, he was actually given a court-ordered immunity deal, which is why maybe he's being so forthcoming about just all the everything that he had to do as far as responsibility goes while he was on the job and under the employment of Diddy for that 2-year time period. And so whenever he got on the stand again, George Kaplan, for the most part, he is kind of medium built, a little stocky. And when I had noticed him taking the stand outside of the presence of the jury, I saw him and Diddy kind of look at each other. George Kaplan smiled at him, Diddy smiled back. And so there seemed like familiarity about him to him. So when he announced himself as a former executive assistant of Diddy and working for the Combs enterprise per se, then I was like, okay, he's another staff member, because sometimes you just never know who these people are and who's going to be testifying in this trial. And so as far as George Kaplan, today he was questioned by Maureen Comey. So he used to actually work at Nickelodeon for about a 7-month period, and then he moved over to the Combs enterprise in December of 2013. So he had worked for Diddy's company, or this was a holding company, that being Combs Enterprise, and he said it was essentially a holding company that oversees all of Diddy's other companies, which includes liquor and lifestyle, television, even clothing, and I presume he means the Sean John line. But he worked under this Combs enterprise, that he calls it, from December of 2013 to December of 2015. So he says initially for a 10-month period, he was actually hired as an executive assistant to the chief operating officer. And that, again, was about a 10-month period. Then afterwards, his next role at the his next role at the job was an executive assistant to the chairman. Now, who was the chairman? That being none other than Sean Combs himself. And so that promotion happened in September of 2014. He said one of the people that he reported to was Christina Coram, who he calls KK, who Cassie has called KK, and who other staff members who have also testified also refer to her as KK. And so he said that he had, for the most part, worked at Diddy's LA home, and this is the one on 200 Mapleton over in Los Angeles. He said his responsibilities included carrying bags of clothes, medicine, food, computers, iPads. He organized Diddy's home so that way things would be up in top shape for the chairman, and that's who his boss was essentially. He said his responsibilities changed after Diddy pretty much started trusting George a little bit more. And that's when he would be working with Diddy at the studio. He'd be working very long hours into the night, sometimes after those studio sessions. He would set up hotel rooms where you can kind of see me leading to where I'm going next. But as far as just his work overall, he said sometimes he would be working 80 to 100 hours per week. Now, mind you, the normal hours for us regular folks is just about 40 hours per week and maybe some overtime here and there. But for George Kaplan, he described pretty much working essentially sometimes 24/7. And so he says the day normally started around 9:30 in the morning, but sometimes they would go as long as 6 or 7 a.m. And he said that, again, some of his responsibilities were just making sure that Diddy had everything ready to use. Those include unpacking the bags, bringing him car chargers ready to go, and grabbing him food. And he said he had other assistants. So it wasn't just George Kaplan working as an assistant. There were 4 other assistants as well, too. But as far as just kind of the hotel rooms, and that's kind of where I was leading up to a little bit, his duties included unpacking hotel rooms, and those included clothes, those included speakers, they included other things like candles, liquor, baby oil, and even ashtrays. And so as far as who bought the supplies, George said that he did buy these supplies. He used a corporate credit card, and he said he needed a little more than an hour to essentially set up this room. And he was instructed to do so either by Christina Coram or he was instructed to do so by Diddy himself. So he said that he set up hotel rooms in Los Angeles and New York and Miami. He mentioned that he set up a hotel here in Trump Hotel and here in New York City. He set up a hotel room at the Intercom.
Life.
Some people in the chat, man. Y'all usually catch me over this time of night, but I got to rock out. I got to rock out. So if y'all see me with my head down, that's just me sharing the work. You know what I mean? Lead is never great.
The hotel in Los Angeles, that we're very familiar with at this point.
When are they going to have the final verdict?
And he said these hotels were booked
about 7 weeks.
Frank Black, and he says that was actually in reference to.
They've been in it 8 weeks. They got about 7 weeks left, bro. 7 weeks.
So I thought that was kind of an interesting tidbit over there. But as far as these hotel stays, he said Diddy would stay in these hotels anywhere from 12 hours to days on end. And then afterwards, he would clean up everything. And those included cleaning up empty bottles of liquor, empty bottles of water, empty bottles of, you might guessed it, baby oil. He says that he came across a brown crystallized powder in the sink one time. He said he would have to clean up this hotel room afterwards, as opposed to having the hotel staff or the maids clean it up. Because it was important to protect Diddy, and his public image was very important for him. He says that he would see hotels essentially selling photos of high-profile guests who would stay at those hotels to newspapers, and then it would be a whole thing of just this information getting out. And so that was kind of his role as far as setting up these hotels. But even as far as just some of the drugs that he procured for Diddy, it was kind of a little of a long list as far as just kind of, there are times that he would get Molly for Diddy or MDMA for him.
I'm gonna get
but
into it.
As far as just kind of how those logistics works, Jesse, that I felt like was an interesting point as well too.
Yeah, it's really illuminating to say the least. And again, trying to tie it to the racketeering charge. He also mentioned something about how in 2015, Diddy apparently hired more security, right? What changed after that?
So it wasn't necessarily clear what the big change was. I think that's where we were kind of leading to, or at least that they were going to circle back on during his direct testimony, which will still continue on into tomorrow. But as far as just his mention of security, he said when he had first started working with Diddy and for Combs Enterprise, that he had worked, that security members included D-Rock, they included Paul, who we know to be Uncle Paulie, and they included Rue, which we know to be a security guard named Ruben. But he said around.
I'm not gonna say that it's gonna be hard for anybody. You know, when you go through a trial, you got the prosecutor and then you have the defense. And the prosecution is got a job to convince the jury that you're guilty. And your defense got a job to do, that you innocent. Now, after Cassie got on the stand, the girl from Daddy Kane got on the stand. Cassie mother. Now, Diddy, former like security guard or assistant or guy was working with him, came in there, smiled at Diddy, got on the stand, and asked for immunity. So, he gonna be on the stand, I guess tomorrow on day 9 of the trial. He was on the stand today, saying that, he set up the room for these freak offs or whatever, and he did whatever. So, he going against him. So, um, do I think Diddy gonna get off? Man, I don't know, man. It's a toss up, bro. It's a toss up. I just don't see him find him guilty on all counts. You know what I mean? That's my story. I'm sticking to it. I don't see them finding him guilty on all counts, and then we could just let it play out from there.
Gallon of alkaline water and another half gallon of alkaline water, and then put it together to make that 1 gallon. And Diddy didn't necessarily like that, and so that was another instance that he remembered about Diddy just threatening his job essentially over fancy water.
I want to circle back about the drugs because drugs are important in this case. On one hand, prosecutors say that the drugs were used to keep victims compliant. On the other hand, possession of drugs with intent to distribute is one of the underlying predicate crimes that the prosecution can prove in order to get to the racketeering charge. What did he say about picking up the drugs, purchasing the drugs? How did that all work out?
People are going all out for.
Yeah, so dude, white boy at that, got on the stand and he telling them he was picking up drugs. So they basically break down law and crime. I like to watch them. They basically break down to you what what I'm saying, the shenanigans of this.
Seems like drugs are kind of like a common theme, especially that the prosecution tried to lay out that there was just drugs essentially every day in Diddy's life. It seems that's where the prosecution is kind of going with this. But as far as George Kaplan is concerned, he said that he did pick up MDMA for Diddy. After being asked to by Diddy himself, he said this instance happened, or this particular incident that he recalled happened in Miami. Diddy asked him to pick up drugs. Diddy gave him the number, I guess, of the respective drug dealer. This person came to Diddy's house who had the drugs with him. He used Diddy's money to pay for these drugs. It was MDMA, and then he would give Diddy the drugs. And he recalled this incident also happening in Los Angeles at the Bel Air Hotel with a different drug dealer that he was instructed to pick up these drugs for Diddy in Hollywood. He wasn't sure what the drug necessarily was, but
There was some big drug dealers, Jack.
Yeah,
what up, Vito?
Kind of ended for the day. So I assume they'll kind of pick back up, at least from the drugs, and then go into more and more kind of layers of just, I guess, whatever his testimony is expected to be tomorrow.
Yeah,
so definitely an important witness in this case. And the reason I started with him at the end is because it's kind of the newest testimony that we're hearing, but it doesn't disregard what we heard earlier on in the day. Because somebody that I actually dedicated a sidebar episode to, somebody who I think is very critical for this case, is a forensic psychologist who testified about essentially one of the main questions in this case. If Cassandra Ventura claims that she was a victim of Diddy's abuse for years, why didn't she leave? Why did she agree to freak offs? Why did she seemingly set them up? Why was she encouraging them? Was she really? Was it actually a lack of consent?
That's the important part right here.
Are we talking about complicated psychological issues? Why? Because we heard the testimony of Dr. Dawn Hughes. So, by the way, she had testified in the Johnny Depp Amber Heard trial, this board-certified forensic and clinical psychologist. She testified on behalf of Amber Heard back in that 2022 defamation trial. Elizabeth, she took the stand for the prosecution. Important witness to explain Cassandra Ventura's behavior, even though she didn't directly examine her, my understanding is. But she made some key points about why somebody like her would possibly stay in a relationship if it was truly toxic and it was truly abusive. And to basically say to the jury, she is potentially a victim of sex trafficking. What insights do you have about Dr. Dawn Hughes?
Yeah, well, one thing about Dr. Dawn Hughes is when she was on the witness stand. Now, Jesse, I'm someone who talks really, really fast. I know that. My mom has even told me about that. But Dr. Hughes, when she was on the stand, she was probably talking faster than I am talking to you right now. She goes so fast that sometimes I'm just like writing everything down and that stuff. But she goes so fast. And so, as far as just some of the key points of her testimony, the question always remains, and it's a question we ourselves get sometimes when we're doing stories outside of coverage why victims of domestic violence and why victims of sexual abuse stay with the partners. And she really kind of broke it down in a way that I think was maybe very helpful to the jury, but it also came with kind of this giant caveat that she wasn't allowed to say certain words like coercive control, something that was agreed upon even prior to trial beginning. And so, as far as just some of the testimony that she gave while under direct, she was talking just about physical abuse, where the normal reaction when somebody hits us or when a victim is hit is just fear, and it's really hard to kind of break that pattern. She talked about psychological abuse, where it's all about threatening physical violence, and you're kind of walking on eggshells. And those symptoms included depression and PTSD and anxiety. She talked about sexual abuse and how a lot of people don't necessarily disclose sexual abuse because it's a private harm. It can be hard to kind of talk about these types of things. Because you can just think about just the reaction to when Cassie Ventura, and again, she never mentioned Cassie by name when she was giving her direct examination. So she didn't name Cassie by name while she was testifying under direct because she was called as a blind witness. So somebody who didn't evaluate Cassie or any of the witnesses in this case.
So she don't matter. Like, so I hate when they get a bunch of people to talk a bunch of nothing. I hate that.
Go back to November of
I hate that.
2023 when Cassie had first filed her lawsuit. The reaction from it was, why did you stay with him so long? Why did you do all these activities with Diddy? Why did you stay with him knowing that he beat you? Just all these questions of why. So Dr. Hughes, again, I think did a great job of kind of breaking it down during the direct testimony, as far as even in instances of emotional abuse, where someone belittles them, demeans them, and puts down their partner. If you can't talk about kind of what's happening with other people just out of fear or anything like that, how can you go and try to get help because you might be embarrassed or ashamed just of everything?
I gotta stop right there. When they say this fear shit that she was putting in there, she went and told her mother. She told her mother what was going on. You know what I mean? That's what y'all gotta remember in the trial. See, I listen to every little thing. She told her mother what was going on. Her mother sent Diddy $20,000 because she claimed that he wanted his money back for something she bought him. Said she took a mortgage out on a loan out on her house and sent her daughter $20,000. But Diddy sent the money back to her. You get what I'm saying? Like, so you know what I mean? She was telling people, bro, like, nah, bro, I just, that's a hard pill to swallow. And that's why they really carefully pick the jury, because you really got to get people with an open mind with that shit, bro. You just can't listen to everything you heard and just go run with it. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, again, I've been covering this for a couple of days, and I said, yo, no matter what, bro, I'm not saying that's right at all. No man should be disrespected. No woman should be violated in no type of way. I don't agree with it at all. But at the end of the day, if you accuse somebody of that, you got to have facts, and you got to be 100% hell beyond your will, and was really getting messed up for me to believe it, because you could be sending somebody to jail for the rest of their life. I mean, this man could go to jail for the rest of their life, and the whole time Cassie might have loved that, because it's not registering to me all the times you had a chance to get away. You got this doctor testifying saying, oh, people that go through this, they tend to just stay with their person. Okay, bet. It didn't say that she was with this man for 11 years straight going through this. They say it was just on and off. She had different boyfriends. Kid Cudi was her boyfriend. The trainer nigga was her boyfriend. She was doing different shit. She called her mother and told her mother that she was scared and she needed $20,000. Her mother got a check and sent it to Diddy. So people was knowing what's going on, and she got away. She said the man baped her, and then she went to have consensual sex. It just don't sit, you know what I mean? It ain't sitting with me the way that it's sitting with everybody. And again, I repeat, and I'm gonna say this a thousand times on my show. By no means necessary am I agreeing with or siding with a woman being violated in no type of way. I don't agree with that. I don't stand on that. But I'm just saying it need to be facts. You get what I'm saying? You have to have these facts before you send somebody up the river for the rest of their life because of it could be an instance of jealousy. It could be an interest of vindictive. It could be a thing. Excuse me. It could be a thing of jealousy. It could be a thing of vindictive. It could be wanting to get your lick back. It could be jealousy. This thing was filled off with sex, money, and drugs. The biggest devils in the world: sex, money, and drugs. So this thing was filled off of that, and now it's like, hold up, like was you with this, and then now he went looking for. I don't know. You get what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, we agree 100%. The whole world agree 100%. Diddy is guilty of domestic violence. He was putting his hands on that woman. We seen the tape. There's nothing he could do about that. You get what I'm saying? There's nothing he could do about it. But this sex trafficking and holding people on their will, I can't agree with that, bro. I just feel like, again, Diddy's a nasty, nasty. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, like, see, he could have went over Brazil and had his way, right? You say you tapping in from Brazil. He could have went over Brazil and have his way. That's what people gotta understand. Why do I gotta constantly do something? People in relationships bump heads. We get that. So you saying him fighting this girl back, but all the other stuff that you're accusing this man of is crazy. And then it's supposed to be all of these victims. Like, come on. But listen though, this is what I'm saying. So Cassie saying she was doing all this, right? She never said in her testimony at all that it was other victims. He was doing this to multiple women. So if she was with this man for 10 years and it was just him, and dudes. But these other people talking about. You get what I'm saying? I feel like part of this was influenced by the fact that she's a woman that's have two children, about to have a third child. You know what I mean? Her career, didn't take the way it posed to take, but it didn't continue on taking. You know what I mean? She hitting financial struggles. We humans, we go through financial struggles. Her and her husband put the play together. She said, hey, it is some wild shit that happened with Diddy. I wrote in my diary some of the fucked up shit to do. I put a memoir together. The right person read this. It's a New York best time seller. We put some money in our pocket. He comes up with the genius idea. Hey, tell him you're gonna put the book out. Send him a couple pages of the book and tell him if you don't do it, you're gonna tell everything that they ever done. She does that. Day later, Puff gets his lawyers, gets his checkbook, give her $20 million. Bet. I thought after that it was over. Here come a federal indictment. It was rumors that Cassie ain't going to testify because once she did the settlement, they had a disclosure. Boom. Cassie the lead witness. Now on top of that, Cassie suing the hotel for basically not reporting it and calling the police. That's a big lawsuit out there in California. She about to double up on that lawsuit. So Cassie done got herself up some $1 million, you know what I'm saying? Three beautiful kids, inshallah, they all healthy, and her husband, they take, you know what I mean? They living. But now it's like, hold up. You got the bread, but now there's somebody's life on the line. The man has 7 children. You know what I'm saying? Like my grandma always told me, you make your bed, you lay in it. Now I'm saying, if they, you know what I mean? You got to lay in your bed you made it. But don't send a man to me, don't send a man to prison for his sexual preferences. Don't send a man to prison for his addiction to drugs and his party lifestyle. And it's just drugs, sex, and money, filled lifestyle. You know what I mean? I don't think a lot of the things that they saying drug use is just for him. I don't think he was distributing no drugs. He was buying drugs to party. We all been to people's houses before where they have different things that you can enjoy yourself. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So it's like all these people coming to testify because the feds came and threatened them. All these people want immunity. All these people want to say something. I don't know, bro. Because I feel like if people thought something was going on and seen foul play, people will get away from that. Either you a part of it or you not with it. So a lot of these people getting immunity, like they said, immunity is just a way for a rat not to go face his consequences in prison. That's what immunity is. It's for rats to not face their consequences. So this man was paying these people 6 figures. This man was paying these people doing shit, and these people just going crazy. And like I said, I don't think Diddy hands is all the way clean, but what they charged him with, I just don't believe he was into that. I believe he was getting high. I believe he was having a good time. I believe he was doing drugs, having sex, just having a great time, because I don't think you have to pay to be in his presence. You know what I mean? All this sex worker shit, I don't know about that shit, bro. And they talking about men, it's most men saying they sex workers, and it's women. Then they saying, oh, a child go back to 9 years old. Like, y'all putting too much stuff on a man that I just don't believe. Like, I didn't believe a lot of things about Michael Jackson. You know what I mean? Like, I don't believe everything that they trump up in the news. I don't believe that every person that swear on the Bible, that get on the stand telling the truth. And I don't believe that Cassie Ventura is being 100% honest with the courts and with the world. But what she had to do as a mother, she had to secure a bag, and hey, it's a dirty world, and she might have secured her bag in a dirty way. You know what I mean? She felt like her career didn't go the right rate. She made, you know what I'm saying? She's got all this vindictive shit put up in her, and she got confiscated a whole lot of money. You know what I'm saying? And she came and testified, and we're gonna see this play out. So for what people ask me is, a guy took the stand today, was Diddy, former associate security, whatever position he played. He kind of like put the drugs on the scene, saying he got drugs for Diddy. He set up these rooms for these freak offs. He went and did things. That's a blow to the defense. But is he lying? And then one thing he asked for before he testified was for immunity. So what crimes was he in part of, and what is he about to say? He said a lot today, but tomorrow is when they dig in the crates, and then the defense attorney get to cross examine them. And the one thing about this defense attorney, they love to cross examine a whistleblower. They got immunity because they know why you whistleblowing. Like, we can't believe you, bro, because we don't know what you told them, and you told them to save your own ass. You know what I mean? So yeah. Hey, but if you're just looking at this, please hit that notification button, hit that subscribe button, drop a like, leave a comment. That's the only way that I can get into the algorithms. If you like this video, it's 11 y'all in here. Come on, man. Run me up. But let's get back to it.
Where she was discussing just the financial aspects of everything, where she said that sometimes people need tangible reasons to leave. So how do you leave someone if you don't have access to tangible resources such as money or an apartment? When asked as far as why victims do come back to their perpetrators or their abusers, she said it's because some more.
Apply for a new place from any place. So
That NBA, that WNBA, man, running it up, boy. The end here, man. Heard Caitlyn and Angel. My head, that league getting big, man. League getting big.
Place of love, and the person who wants that love back will just continue going back to the person who inflicted possibly violence on them, abuse on them, just because they always are remembering that person that they first fell in love with. She said that they want the good person back, and it creates kind of a trauma bond because these acts just get so humiliating too that they're scared to talk about it out of fear. So they end up going back to their abusers, where essentially this is kind of common. And as far as just the trauma bond, that a lot of people feel hopelessness. They have a fear of just leaving their partner and even just trying to leave. We talk about this all the time at Law and Crime, where it takes more than one time for somebody to try to leave. It takes multiple attempts for people to try to leave because there's so many obstacles, such as fear of retaliation, that their lives could be in danger, and that more often again than not, victims end up returning again to their abusers, to their perpetrators, because they return for that love. They return for that good version of the partner that they fell in love with initially. Something that I feel like kind of directly plays into what Cassie was talking about while on the stand, but it's not even just isolated to Cassie, right? Again, this is something that's very common that we talk about throughout our society, just about
Would the
believing
feds treat
victims that
Diddy
go through
different
these types
if
of things,
the
and just
witness was
as
all
far as
black
the question of
queens?
why, I think Dr. Hughes did a great job on explaining why
Man,
this
that's
is
a
the
good
case.
question, John. Though
I think that this.
that's a good question. Wow. Yeah, Cassie is a Spanish girl, but there's a few black girls that got on the stand. I don't know, man. I would just say that uh to be honest with you, I would say that and I said this yesterday. If y'all tapped in with me yesterday, you know what I'm saying. Nobody judged Hugh Hefner. You know what I'm saying? Like nobody judged Hugh Hefner. Trenton, New Jersey, what's good, bro? I'm from Baltimore. Trenton, what up? So nobody judged Hugh Hefner. Nobody judged the guys that came out with the video college girls gone wild, 18 and over. Like nobody judged this. 18 and over supposed to be the legal age. I compare this to Hugh Hefner because Hugh Hefner was in the world face. Playboy magazines was on every newsstand. You know, it's the Playboy Mansion was all our dreams, especially if you a 80s baby and come up in the 90s. Come on, man. Let's be honest. Anybody in the chat can tell me who didn't want to go and experience, you know, well, when I'm that old, whereas though the Playboy Mansion was relevant, the Bunny Ranch, all that type shit was going on. You get what I'm saying? What's going on? Here we had it going on. And nobody and these girls were 18 and up, and these men that were going in there were 40 or better. I mean, guys of all ages, but it was a real big attraction because he was so old, and his fan base grew old with him. So these girls were just being around older rich men. And you know, a older rich man gotta use some type of enhancement to keep up. You know what I'm saying? Diddy, 39 years old with a 19-year-old. You know what I mean? So I'm quite sure it was cocaine and ecstasy and Adderalls. I mean, these are the drugs that people use in the industry. Cocaine is a big drug. Ecstasy is a big drug. Molly's a big drugs. Adderalls are big drugs. Percocets a big drug. Xanax is a big drugs. They the ones that people getting down with, and that syrup, that lean, they big drugs. But Diddy and that crowd like the cocaine, the ecstasy, and the Molly. They ain't really into the probably the Xannies and the Percocets, the downers, because they up for hours and hours and hours. My thing is Cassie had a clean getaway on numerous occasions and she doubled back. And they're trying to say that she doubled back because of money. When you being violated and disrespect, it's no amount of money that's gonna make you go back to that disrespect and that violation. And if you do, you are insane. And it's something that you like about that because it has to be more than money. You know what I'm saying? Money is the root of all evil. You know what I'm saying? You ain't living if you ain't got none. That's a fact. But it's a lot of people out here that got pride. And this was when she was from 19 to 29, damn near 30 years old, when she stopped dealing with him. So at years going by, first I can understand 19 to 25. You were dealing with the man who was over 25 years old. It was something that you liked about him. You know what I mean? That you wanted to be a part of. You know, and like I said again, by no means necessary am I saying anything. If that woman was violated in any right and any truthful thing that came out her tongue, you know, he was absolutely wrong and out of order, and he has to face his consequences like a man. But in the event that this woman is sugarcoating, adding extra and lying, you know what I'm saying, and she really was with this and she was just jealous because he moved on and wasn't dealing with her, that's fucked up. And that's a hard pillow to swallow. And Diddy got so much money and deal in so many big business. You know, the rumors over Ciroc. I think that could play a major part in this. It could play a major part in this. You know what I'm saying? Like sometimes, yo, like when you dealing in big business and you in this billionaire world, sometimes you can't get above yourself. Then I'm sorry to say, the only culture in the world that can get above themselves is the African descendants here on the shores of North America. Because no matter how much money you get, no matter how hard you work, and no matter how strong you build your legacy, bro, it's always doors, and it's always they always got somebody over top of the black man, the black woman, no matter how big they get. They always let you know, give you a billionaire or trillionaire. There's always somebody, always a team of people that's out there against you when you get the, speaking your mind, or you get the talking about the injustice. So, that could play a major part in, Diddy demise. But also, they can't do things to you and destroy you if you're not engaging in doing things. You get what I'm saying? If you're not adding fuel to the fire, they have nothing to have on you. If you got a clean jacket, they can't bring nothing on you. It makes it harder for them to dig a hole for you. But in Diddy instance, like I said, I don't believe that Diddy's innocent, 100% innocent at all. I believe that a lot. I believe that overall, maybe 45% of that shit that they saying, about him, I'm gonna go with a reasonable number. I'm gonna say about 35% of that shit he engaging in. I'm not even gonna hold you. I do believe that. I do believe it was some wild parties and maybe things could get out of order, but I don't believe that he's a vapist. I don't believe that he was pulling guns out, holding people beyond his will. I believe that if those guns did belongs to him, allegedly, I believe they were just simply for protection. For somebody that had big parties in their house and live in the hills, robberies happen. Kidnappings happen. People get Billy badasses. So I think they were just in there to protect the property. I don't think they were in there to hold somebody to fucking suck. Excuse my language. I just don't think that Diddy had guns in his house to hold people hostage to have sex. That don't even make no sense for a billionaire. So, when they sell the guns, the drugs, I don't think he got drugs to distribute. They just locked NBA Youngboy up for a bunch of pills, and it was a big pill bust, but they realized they were using the pills. He have so much money, he don't need to distribute drugs. You understand what I'm saying? Diddy has so much money, he don't need to distribute drugs, so they can't prove to me the drugs was for his personal use. You know what I mean? And when you like to be the chaperone, you know what I'm saying? You like to have a good time in parties, they be there. And all I'm saying is before the world get to be the Beckys and the Super Toms of the world, hey man, think like you think, man. You don't went to high school, you don't went to college, you don't went to neighborhood parties where all the drugs was there, all the alcohol, you know what I'm saying? All the marijuana was there. Everything is there at the party. The chaperone might be a big boss. You've been the cookouts where you say, man, it's gonna be food and drinks there. They up. You get what I'm saying? We all went to these shits. But I'm just saying, man, I believe, sometimes the partying got out of control. The drug use got bad. But I don't believe that people was being held beyond their will, because I just don't believe no coochie that good and no penis, or just watching people do whatever is that good to hold people hostage and eventually have them press charges against me or videotape me and put me in a situation where I could lose my empire. I just don't believe Diddy's that dumb or think that he has that much power. You know what I mean? Nobody has power over a sexual assault. Nobody has power over murder. You know what I'm saying? Nobody has power over kidnapping. Nobody has power holding people hostage. You don't have that much money that the law is gonna overlook that for you. You know what I'm saying? Just ain't, you know what I mean? Ain't nobody overlooking shit like that. It's certain shit that I don't care if you are entertained or whatever, you not getting away with. You know what I mean? Especially a crime against a woman. I done seen the biggest people fall in politics and Hollywood on the streets. You know what I mean? Like women are a serious game to be playing with and holding them beyond their will and doing crazy stuff like that. That's why pimps get life in jail. And Diddy's facing life in jail. A man that doesn't even have a criminal background is facing life in prison. So this is a real serious situation that I feel like everybody must take notes and pay attention to. This successful dudes are successful. Like, come on, man. Like, come on. I think this is a case of opening up doors that you can't close. I think Cassie was open to having these threesomes, having these freak offs and these parties. And I believe at some point, she really wanted to, I believe that part was she really wanted to be with him. Like they were having freak offs, and then him and her were making love. She would have 72-hour freak offs, and then after that, he would finish her off. But just him and her. This is insane. You know what I mean? But hey, you know what I mean? To each his own. You know what I mean? There's a lot of crazy stuff going on in y'all bedrooms, backyards, cars, basements, hotel rooms. That if you got caught on camera, you be looking grown, gray hair, like Diddy. You know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, I don't believe that like Diddy is just clean. You know what I'm saying? Oh no, Diddy ain't do none of this. Hell no. I believe it's some wild nights and some crazy nights off of drugs. You know, cocaine with ecstasy and Molly and liquor. You get what I'm saying? It's a lot. It'd be a lot going on over and over, day in and day out. A lot go on. I just believe that that young lady, Cassie Ventura, opened up doors and start engaging in things that later on down the line she just didn't realize. Like it might do. It's hard to push stop when you know what I'm saying, when you ain't been engaging this is what you're known for. This is what you're around for. Know what I'm saying? You ain't around for nothing else because you open up this door. And now that's what it is. You know what I mean? You come in and you tell somebody you're a blunt roller, and you roll up a few good blunts, dude's gonna be expecting you to roll blunts. You say you cook, oh man, I'm nice in the kitchen. You cook a couple times and people eat the food, they gonna start fucking with you in the kitchen. You say you sling that iron, dude's gonna put you to the test and ask you to go sling that iron. You say you can ride dirt bikes, dudes want to see you pop a willie. You say you a driver and you could get away, you like the transporter, dudes. One day you will have to show face on that. So, you know, you partying and you saying you nasty, and you like that freaky shit and you love freak off and you always ready for this. This is what happens. And then one day you decide to say that is your right. You have one day to say that I don't want to do this anymore. That's your right. But everybody might not be failing you. Same way if you go to church and you've been with the church for 20 years and you tell your pastor in a congregation that you want to go to another church because your wife go to this church. They look at you crazy. Like, so come on, bro. You can't be doing stuff. And I just feel like that girl was in over her head, engaging in stuff that she shouldn't have never did. And she realized over the years that he had other girlfriends and other women that wasn't being treated like this. I don't know. She don't know how they been treated, but that she know that it's what she assumed that these freak offs wasn't going with other women. I'm guessing. But you know, like I said, I'm just like the 80%. I feel like Young Miami was talking that gangster shit. You know what I'm saying? And things were happening, and Diddy was still shining. She was having babies. This guy that she was with is not the ultimate provider, but you know, money's not everything. You know what I'm saying? Loyalty and love it values more than money. But when you've been around a billionaire and Chanel bags and Birkin bags is like goddamn going to Rainbow, you know what I mean? And then your guy right here just pumping babies in you. And Diddy ain't pumped one baby in you, but kept you straight. You looking around and y'all mastermind this and y'all come up with this joint. Like I said, hey, if you want to do it, a dude and this chick got together and plotted on a billionaire. You get what I'm saying? I'm from the streets. Hey, that's what y'all into. That's what y'all into. I'm not fond of the police part. I'm not fond of the police part at all. Okay, so you got that money and you should have told the feds that, you know, I took this money because I told him I was going to sell everything. Money don't stop your pain. Money don't heal your agony. But once you took that money, you should have closed that chapter. You should have closed that chapter. I'm just being honest with you. You can't settle out. You settle out of court. I ain't going for the kill switch. Got your mother up there. Got all this shit going on. And I just feel like by no means did she accept full accountability for her part in this and her role in this. So I say before everybody just go pointing the finger at Diddy and just throwing him under the bus and just making it feel like that, man. Pay attention to law and crime. Pay attention to these sites that's, you know, covering it because it's actually no actual video and audio that the public can have. So everybody's jotting down notes and everybody is going off for this and that. And and maybe the next 3 months, the full paperwork will drop, so everybody be reading the paperwork for what these, you know, these vlogs and these news stations mix. But you know, from my understanding, 8 days in the trial, I didn't hear nothing in the trial that was devastating that I will, if I was a juror, and from all the notes that's been taken and all the information that I got in my head, how I manifest and rationalize with this, I haven't heard nothing in 8 days in the Diddy trial that I could find him guilty on everything. It has been some hits. It has been some people saying some things, you know, that it can't, but it has been people, you know, the prosecutor always look good when they present their case, but the defense, have been coming back, and they have been defending Diddy in the right way. I haven't been in on the trial. I might shoot up New York and try to catch it the outside and get some inside, get some inside put from people that's going in there. But I just haven't heard, from my notes and my research, haven't heard nothing that will make me feel like the man is guilty of these charges yet. And like I said, it has been some stuff that make you, you know what I'm saying, have been some head turning points in this. And again, like I said, I don't believe Diddy's 100% innocent. I really don't. But what they charged him with, I think he's being charged wrong. He's being charged wrong. If they would have went the domestic violence way, assault and battery and all that stuff that come with it, yeah, I could go with that. But a lot of this other stuff in these crazy silver suits, man, it's a bit too much, man. It's a bit too much, man. Hit that notification button, hit that subscribe button, double tap the screen, man. If you don't know how to do it, hit that subscribe button. You know what I mean? Come a super chat, jump up in that super chat. I need some super chats in here. But that's how I feel about it. So Diddy, former associate, took the stand today, said he was buying stuff and getting drugs and doing all that. He's got full immunity, so we just ain't buying everything he said. Whatever he had going on or whatever he was a part of, he flipping. You know what I'm saying? He came in court and smiled at Diddy. But like I said, man, y'all can check that joint out on Law and Crime. All those crazy news stations has been reporting it. We can't get the audio like the Thug case and like the Melly case and a few other cases that we seen on court TV or we see on the different vlogs. We can't get that footage, and this is one of them joints. And we ain't gonna be able to get it in the dirt case either. So any of these federal cases, if it's not dealing with the president and all of the big dogs in the government, we'll never get to see it. To be honest with you. So that's my opinion for the day. Day 8 of the Diddy trial. We got the boy Rod Wave. One of my favorite young artists, man. One of my favorite artists, man. Rod Wave, man. Man. This domestic stuff is taking a new height. You know what I mean? This stuff is taking a new height, man. Rod Wave arrested for shooting his girlfriend, Minnie Barbie. Everybody's just crazy. I had to get my man Rod Wave. Just gotta find like the news. Yeah, Rod Wave, but he's out on bail. I know that. Rod Wave's out on bail. And they said he shot at his girl the car 14 times. Damn. Bruh. Whoa, Rod. What the fuck y'all had going on that you got so mad? Damn. He says a jealous arrest. Let's hear what I gotta say for this.
Artists, man. So we see stuff like this come across. We gotta see what's going on with our artists, man. This podcast pretty much focuses in on hip hop, right? The hip hop side of the house. So let's see. Rod Wave was arrested for allegedly firing 14 shots into his girlfriend's Mini G-Wagon, Barbie, into her G-Wagon. Rod Wave was arrested today on 13 charges, including aggravated assault, possession of a firearm, and more after his bond on a separate charge was revoked for an indictment that allegedly took place last month. Authorities say they acquired video evidence of him getting into an argument with his girlfriend and shooting her vehicle. No one was inside the vehicle. He was arrested on bond a few hours after being arrested today. So he was out on bond.
Chiqui Auto Stores tiene.
My man said he was proud of Rod Wave, man. I'm gonna get into this.
Rearrested? All right, now these details is bugged out. You know what that almost sounds like, to be honest? It almost sounds like they was having an argument. Maybe he bought that shit.
That's what I was already saying.
Out of being pissed off, he shot it up like, shit, I bought this fucking truck. Right. Not like he was trying to hurt somebody, because they said nobody was inside. Luckily. Right. So if nobody was inside, and let's say allegedly he knew it, allegedly he shot it up, but also allegedly he knew nobody was inside, maybe because he's outside the truck with his girl, they was arguing, he pulls his strap and said, well, you know what, fuck, nigga, I bought this shit, boom, 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 and hits the truck. Maybe that's it. I don't think that's a good way to take out your frustration on the argument. Allegedly, if that's the case here, but that's almost what it sounds like, right? Thank God he ain't shoot at her, right? We're going on this right now, so I'm going to say allegedly. I don't want to overreach, but if he just shot up the truck with nobody in it, knowing that nobody was in it, and if he's the one that bought it, that's probably what he was doing. He was taking out his fucking frustration. I bought this shit. You ever see how these niggas they be in the crib, they start breaking shit because they're like, I bought it, I paid for it, they break it. Like as if that's supposed to be a way to get back at whoever they
Everybody know that.
It's your shit that you breaking though. Like, it's your money that you just fucking wasted. Yeah, I don't want you driving this shit. I'm the one that paid for
Rod Wade, a cool guy, man.
I mean, that would be a jealous nigga. You know, that'd be that type of guy. You know, if it's in your means, just take the truck back. You know what I'm saying? If it's in your means, just take the shit, take it back, or don't buy it in the first place. So I don't know. I don't want to over speculate. But here's his charges. Let's bring those up. Let's take a look at some of this shit.
Rappers going crazy, man.
Aggravated assault, possession of a firearm or knife during commission of or an attempt to commit certain felonies. So firing out in public and shooting up that truck and all that type of shit, it's gonna cross some crimes or some laws, right? You can't just pull out your gun and just shoot cars up. It doesn't work that way, even if you paid for it. Right, you got to be at a shooting range or some shit like that to do it. Right, there's literally cars at shooting ranges that you could shoot up. Pointing or aiming a gun or a pistol at another. Ooh, that's assault. If he pointed it at her, that's assault. Even brandishing a gun at somebody, I believe, is assault.
Dang.
If you walk up to somebody, you just lift up your shirt and show them your gun, that's assault. Reckless conduct, yeah, that's the obvious one for shooting up a car out in public. Criminal damage to property, second degree. So not just damage to property, but criminal damage to property. Willful obstruction of law enforcement officers, misdemeanor. Tampering with evidence, felony. Damn, they try to hide some shit. Damn. Possession of firearm or knife during commission or attempt to commit certain felonies, simple assault, reckless conduct, criminal damage to property in the second degree, willful obstruction of law enforcement officers, again, tampering with evidence, again, felony, conspiracy to commit a felony. Isn't it bugged out how you could have what you think is just one action, just one situation? I pulled out my gun and I shot up this truck. I knew nobody was in it. I just wanted to shoot this fucking truck up. So I was mad that the bitch was driving my shit and we arguing. And I felt like she's taking me for granted. Taking my fat ass for all due respect to say. I was trying to say like how some of these guys, I said the fat ass shit with all due respect, but I was just really in my thoughts because you got the guys that end up with a lot of women that wouldn't end up with them unless they had money. And I'm not saying that that's the case with Rod Wade. I don't know what his swag is before. He could be
bro.
He's rich as celebrity or not.
He try to slide the fat guys, bro. I'm a fat boy, bro. He played with us at Rod Corn. But Rod Wade was arrested. And we just got the details that Rod Wade was arrested. He shot his girlfriend truck up 14 times. Probably was mad and just went and shot the truck up. And that's what I believe. You know what I mean? My opinion, you know what I'm saying? I'm not saying this is facts, but just my opinion. I believe they was arguing and these women can get you under your skin. And Rod Wade just went and just took his frustration out on the car. He should have used the bat. You know what I mean? He should have used the bat, but the gun was that. Now he got a rack of charges, and you know, you gotta, when you in this business, brother, you gotta peep the jewels, black man. It's better than gold, bro. You gotta be careful, bro. You gotta know that eye candy. You gotta know how to just, crush and go, bro. You gotta I mean, you getting locked in. If you gotta shoot a car and she that aggravating, make you grab a pistol and shoot the car, bro, like that's not the girl for you. And I don't know their relationship. You know what I mean? That could be the girl for him, but my opinion, that ain't the girl for you, Rod Wave. You got money, it's just hard once once you're a successful anything and you get established and you're not with that girl from the neighborhood, or you're not with a woman that's really into you and not into what you can do for her and your celebrity status. It's hard. And then when you think, and then people put these masses on, and when they put these masses on, bro, they play a vicious game. So, and that vicious game can drive you crazy. So, some of these crimes, man, be crimes out of passion. I'm not saying it's right. I'm not saying it's wrong, but I'm just saying we all know, us real people. Cause I know a lot of people on the internet be trolling and be faking, but us real people know that love shit, you know what I'm saying? Being in love and just being aggravated and frustrated could just have your mind playing tricks on you. You could really lose control. And that's on some sober shit, sober or drunk or high, but you could lose control, especially when somebody playing games. And those celebrity dudes like Rod Wave, he's at the hype of his career. He's at the best part of his career. And his career doesn't his music is so classical, traditional, and so legendary, and was so well put together. Rod Wave music is gonna, it's gonna keep up with the test of time. You know what I mean? It's gonna be around. You get what I'm saying? It's gonna be around, man. Boy got some songs that's gonna be around. Tombstone is just one song that's gonna be around. Like he has some great art that's gonna be displayed in the entertainment business for a long time. So it's like, he been around for a minute now. And he been killing them the last 5 years. And I'm like, bro, what you doing, but hey, it happens. We all fall in love. Sometimes you get with the person that you shouldn't be with. You know what I mean? That money can make you blind. Situations can make you blind. But once that situation making you go through what you going through, and you all in the public and you looking like you doing something crazy, and it's got you getting charged, got you missing dates, it could interfere with your money and your career. That's not the situation you want to be in. So you know what I mean? Shout out to Raw Wade, man. I'm glad he home, man. I hope him and his lady get that together. If not, get away from each other. And I hope he make out in court. You know what I mean? It's a long time before he have to worry about the court proceeding, but I hope that they could come to agreement, man. You know what I'm saying? He could take some anger management classes, and this don't affect him. You know what I'm saying? So you're getting too much money, but and your future is looking real bright. Don't let relationships kill it. So the next news I got is the NFL. The NFL is officially 2028 Olympics. I don't know where it's going to be held at, but the they doing flag football, and they're going to pick a player from every team to make this super team with this joint. So that's what they had to say.
I think you may have all been informed, but we're excited to announce today that the NFL owners unanimously passed a resolution giving every NFL player an opportunity to play in the Olympics in 2028 in Los Angeles. I think news represents a great opportunity for the sport, for the NFL. It's truly the next step in making NFL football and football a global sport. Um, for men and women of all ages and all opportunities across the globe. We think that's the right thing to do, and this is a big step in accomplishing that. For our players, we think it's a tremendous opportunity for them to represent their country, to compete for a gold medal, which is the pinnacle of global sports. It's something that I think all professional athletes, and we have two here today that will speak to this, that across many different sports, the opportunity to play for your country and to win a gold medal or any medal is a wonderful and an honor to be able to do. And I think from an individual perspective, I think the Olympics is another step in giving our players an opportunity to brand themselves on a global basis, to give them that opportunity to be exposed to a global audience and show them what they can do on any field and beyond that. So we're very excited about it. We appreciate, of course, the NFLPA has been incredibly supportive. USA Football, IFAF, which is the International Football, American Football, LA 28, and of course the Olympic family, which we appreciate all of their support. So I'll hand it over to Peter O'Reilly.
Thanks, Commissioner. I'll be brief and just building on the commissioner from an international lens. It was a significant deal when the IOC selected flag football for women and men to be part of the LA 28 Olympic program. Today is another major step in that. We've seen over the last couple of years the way that countries around the world are now investing in flag football because it is on that Olympic stage and it is a medal sport, significant investment. Today only shines a big bright spotlight on the rapid growth of flag football, not just in this country, but around the world, and the opportunity that exists over the next 3 years to build on that momentum. And then on a big stage, as the commissioner said, with the best athletes in the world, showcasing this tremendous sport and doing that in a way that is another catalyst for our game around the world. So we couldn't be more excited. Everywhere we go around the world, we see flag football now being played in schools, played at higher levels. And this announcement today will only draw attention and will continue to increase the commitment and investment. So very excited for the opportunity and thrilled, the commissioner said, to be working with great partners in the IOC, in IFAF, in LA 28 to bring this to life. And Troy Vincent's been at the center of everything we've done with flag. So I'll hand over to TB right now.
Yeah, that's dope. Yeah, that's dope, bro. That's dope, bro. I like that, man. They participate in that. You know, they're going to make a mega team, too, so that we should get a gold medal. You know what I mean? We should get a gold medal. We should get a gold medal. But listen, man, I thank everybody for tapping in.
The Olympics. So for European dropping back.
That's going to be fun as hell. You know what I mean? That's going to be fun as hell. I can't wait. 2028 be here soon. But listen, man, hit that notification button. Hit that subscribe button. Drop a like. Leave a comment. I thank everybody for tapping in, man. I'll be back in the morning with the morning show. But, hey, man, we covered Diddy, man, Raw Wade, man, in the NFL. Is 2028 Olympics. The NFL is sending a super team over there to go out there to get these medals. And the gold medals is now NFL players are getting gold medals. But I thank everybody for tapping in, man. Hit that notification button. Hit that subscribe button. Drop a like. Leave a comment. If you like anything I said, if you like my content and you appreciate my content, please subscribe to my channel. On my way to 5K. Then if you want to know about what it stands for, Raw Dope Podcast stands for the rawest and dopest interviews on the planet. Al Miranda writes is no fuck shit, no fake shit, no foolishness. Anything you can say can and will be used against you on the internet. And I'm from Baltimore City, by the way of DMV. Make sure y'all tap in. Let's go.